This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Habayim. So we're within 30 days of Purim. You know, there's a shaila, Mishanichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. When the month of Adar comes in, we increase our joy. You know, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to increase your joy? Does it say anywhere in Halacha that you have to eat extra meat in Adar? Or that you have to drink extra wine in Adar? So Reb Chaim Kanievsky says, in his opinion, if you have a siyum to make, you should schedule the siyum for Adar. But perhaps simply, Pekudei Hashem Yisharim Mesamchei Lev. Torah makes you happy, so you should learn more in Adar. L'chayra. Okay, today's shir is dedicated by our dear friend, Rabbi Avram Moshe Freud, in honor of Chodesh Adar. The Yivon Shem should be mashpia on Rabbi Avram Moshe v'chol mishpachtoi and his son Chashav Abachar Michal Shefa Bracha V'Atzlacha. I want to remind everyone, all phones can be on and on you outside of the shul. You hear? When you're outside the shul, you could have a phone on you. Okay. We're going to speak today about the mitzvah of Kriyas HaMegillah. We know the Gemara says in Megilla on Daf Daled Amud Aleph, a statement of Rabbi Shua ben Levi that Chayiv Adam Likrois Es HaMegillah B'Layla L'Shnois V'Yom. One is obligated to read the Megillah in the nighttime and to repeat it during the daytime. Shenemar Ekra Elaikai Ekra Yoimam V'Loi Sa'aneh V'Layla V'Loi Dumiyali. In the parak of Tehillim that talks about Esther's tefillos, it says, God, I call out to you during the day and you don't answer, at night and I have no respite. The Gemara had a havamina that what that meant was, Savar Mineh, the Gemara thought, Lemikre Belelia Ulamisna Masnisim Dedabi Yamama. That what this means is that you should read the Megillah at night and learn the Mishnah during the day. Amar Luhu Rabbi Yirmiyah said, L'didi mefarshile Mefarshili mined Rabbi Chia bar Abba. It was explained to me from Rabbi Chia bar Abba, Kagoin da Amri Inshi E'evar Parshasada V'Asnei. Doesn't mean you learn the Mishnayos. It means you repeat it. You do it again. Because people say, I will read this Parsha and I will learn it again. Okay? So the bottom line is, you have to read the Megillah twice. Chayiv Adam Likrois Es HaMegillah B'Layla V'Lishnois B'Yom. What's very interesting is that where is this learned out from? A pasuk in Tehillim, Parak Chav Beis. This is the Parak Lamasech Ala Yelas Hashachar Mizmal David. This is the Parak about the miracle of Purim. And how do you learn out Mikra Megillah from this pasuk? So Rashi says that this Parak is the Parak Lamasech Ala Yelas Hashachar that was said about Esther. Lama, like the Gemara says in Yuma, Lama Nimshal Esther Ka'ayelas HaShachar. Esther is compared to the morning star. Just like the morning star is the end of the night, Esther was the end of the miracles. So the first question we have to ask is, the source in the Gemara, the source in the Tanakh, that you read Megillas Esther in the night and you repeat it during the day, is not talking about Mikra Megillah at all. The pasuk in Tehillim is talking about the tefillos of Esther. Isn't that interesting? The pasuk in Tehillim that says that the Gemara is learning out, they have to read the Megillah at night and repeat it during the day. It's not talking about Mikra Megillah. It's talking about the prayers of Esther. Ekra Elokai, Ekra Yoimam V'Loi Sa'aneh, V'Layla V'Loi Dumiyali. God, I call out during the day and I'm not answered, in the night and I have no respite. So that pasuk is not talking about Mikra Megillah at all. It's talking about the tefillos of Esther. So Rashi says that Mikra Megillah is a zeicher to the nes, and during the time of the miracle they were zoyek yoim v'layla. Therefore, we read the Megillah yoim v'layla. It seems what Rashi is saying is that the way Mikra Megillah was formulated is that it parallels Tefillah. And just like the Tefillah in the times of Purim was day and night, Mikra Megillah is supposed to be day and night. Now there's a very interesting halacha, and this is just by way of an introduction. Let's say you don't have a minyan. Let's say you don't have a minyan for Mikra Megillah. By the way, one is supposed to have a minyan for Mikra Megillah. Many people think, well, I know how to read the Megillah, so at night I'll read the Megillah for my wife. I'll do that. You can read for your wife after you heard it with the minyan. But you have to be present with the minyan. In a place where there's no minyan, if one person knows how to read and others don't, so you have 7 people. One person can read and others don't, so one person can be mitzi the other 6. If all of them know, you can't be mitzi them. You can only be mitzi people who are able to read the Megillah themselves if there's a minyan. If there's no minyan, you can't be mitzi other people. You hear this? That's the halach in Shulchan Aruch. That's the shita of the Mechaber. Magen Avram says, why can't a yachid be mitzi a tzibur unless you have a minyan? By shofar, one person can be mitzi 3 other people, even if they know how to blow. So why by Megillah can one person not be mitzi others? So the Magen Avram says, Kriyas HaMegillah is like tefillah, and you can't do it if they know how to do it unless you have 10 people. So the idea seems to be, like what Rashi's saying, is that the way Kriyas HaMegillah was formulated, it's formulated modeled after tefillah. So just like tefillah, you can't say Dvarim Shebekdusha unless you have 10 people. So to Mikra Megillah, if someone is a baki, you cannot be mitzi them unless you have a minyan. Okay? Now, let's get into the Shechianu. When you read the Megillah the night of Purim, you say Shechianu, yeah? You say it because it's the first time you have the opportunity to mekayim the mitzvah of Mikra Megillah. Do you make a Shechianu in the morning? What do you say? Do we make another Shechianu in the morning? What would you think? L'chayra, not. It's the second time you're mekayim the mitzvah. L'chayra, you should not make a Shechianu. Comes Tosfos, and Tosfos quotes the Ri, and the Ri says that even though you're mavarech Shechianu in the Laila, you mavarech again b'yoim. Why? Because Iker Persumei Nisa have a b'kriya d'yamama. The main Persumei Nisa is the day reading. How do you know? Because everyone comes at night. Right? You have many women, they come out in the night, and they don't come out during the day. Adarabba. A woman who's going to come out one time, she should go out during the day, not during the night. She should try to go out both times, if she can. But if she can't, the Iker reading is the day. And the proof is, it says, Ekra lelekim yoimam v'layla. First, the pasuk in Tehillim talks about the day reading, and then the night. Also, the main Suda is the day and not the night. You hear this? When is Suda's Purim? Matasio, when do you eat the Suda? At night? Purim day. The Iker Suda is a day. And the Suda is hukash to the Kriyas HaMegillah. V'hayomim ha'eila nizkarim and asim. These days are remembered and performed. Zechira is the Megillah. Asiya is the Suda. Therefore, Tosfos says the Iker Megillah is during the day. And since the Iker Megillah is during the day, even though you've already made a Shechianu in the night, that's very nice. Shechianu v'kimanu v'gyanu lazman hazeh to the first reading. But you haven't reached the main mitzvah yet. The main mitzvah is during the day. So you make another Shechianu on the Iker Megillah during the day. That's Tosfos. The Shagas Aryeh adds to Tosfos that not only is the Iker reading during the day, the night reading is only the Rabbanan. The day reading is from the Nevi'im. So it's not just they're both from Mordechai and Esther, and one is more important than the other. The night reading is only Midrabanan. It's not the Iker Chiyuv. More than it's not the Iker Chiyuv. It is not Midivrei Nevi'im. By the way, an afkamina would be if you're Mesupik, whether you read the Megillah or not. So if you're Mesupik, if you read it at night, Safek Derabanan Lakula, you don't have to read it again. But if you're Mesupik, if you read it during the day, it's Midivrei Nevi'im, Divrei Kabbalah, Kedivrei Torah Damya. The words of the Nevi'im are like Midairaisa. If you're Mesupik, if you read it during the day, then you have to repeat it again. By the way, the Noid Yehuda concurs with this. Comes the Rambam, And the Rambam, in Parak Aleph of Hilchos Megillah Halacha Gimel, the Rambam says the mitzvah to read the whole Megillah. And what bracha do you make al Mikra Megillah? Shas Anisim, Shachianu. But in the day, you don't make a Shachianu. And that is the psak of Maran Bet Yosef in the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Tafrei Tzadi Beis. The Rama, as his custom, paskins like Tosfos, that you do make a Shachianu during the day. So Sfardim follow the Rambam, that you do not make a Shachianu during the day, you only make a Shachianu at night. The Shulchan Aruch paskins like the Rambam, you only make one Shachianu. The Rama paskins like Tosfos, that you make a Shachianu by both readings. How do we understand the Shita of the Rambam? It's very nice you made a Shachianu in the night, but the Ikar reading is during the day. The night may only be midrabanan, and even if it's midivrei neviim, the pasuk is mashma. The ikar reading is during the day. The ikar persumei nisa is during the day. It's hukash to the suda. What will the Rambam do with Tosfos' kasha? Why would the Rambam say that you only make one shachianu? Shachianu is we're excited we reached a special milestone. So when you read the second Megillah reading, it's another milestone because it's the ikar reading. Comes the Gra. And the Gra says, the Rambam concurs with Tosfos that the Ikar reading is during the day. Nevertheless, since you're a Mavarich in the night, you're already Yotzei. Why? Says the Rambam, let me give you the following analogy. When you sit in the sukkah the first time, you make a Shachianu, right? Remember that? How about when you take a lulav and esrog the first time, you make a Shachianu? But the Gemara says in Masechta Sukkah, and Daf Mem Vav, that the Gemara says, what's the halacha? When technically are you supposed to make a Shachianu on Sukkah or lulav? The Gemara says technically when you build your Sukkah, you make a Shachianu. Or when you tie your lulav, you make a Shachianu. Now, if you build your sukkah and make Shachianu, or you tie your lulav and make Shachianu, do you need to make a Shachianu again when you sit in the sukkah or when you shake your lulav? No, you don't make another Shachianu. Why? Because you already made a Shachianu. Now, is building a sukkah a mitzvah? No, there's no mitzvah to build a sukkah. Is tying a lulav a mitzvah? There's no mitzvah to tie a lulav. Ella, what is it? Hechsher mitzvah, it's preparation for the mitzvah. Building a sukkah is a hechsher mitzvah for sitting in the sukkah. Tying a lulav is a hechsher mitzvah for shaking the lulav. So what do you see? You see that when you make a Shachianu on a secondary thing, it covers the primary. Building the sukkah is secondary to sitting in it. Tying the lulav is secondary to shaking it. And yet you see that if you make a Shachianu on what is tafel, it works for the ikar. So too, even though the Ikar reading of the Megillah is the day, and the night is secondary, but the night it's a mitzvah, it's definitely a mitzvah. What the night is more of a mitzvah, the night reading of the Megillah is more of a mitzvah than tying the lulav or building the sukkah. There's no question about that. So if even tying a lulav or building a sukkah, the shachianu on tying or building works for the ikar mitzvah, certainly if you make a shachianu on the night reading, which in itself is a mitzvah, that should work for the main mitzvah.
But if it's a hechsher mitzvah, then it's all part of one big mitzvah. So you're making the shachianu, and eventually what's a shachianu for is for the ultimate mitzvah. If the Kriyas Megillah by night is a derabanan, and by day it's midivrei seifrim, then it's two separate entities. Mm-hmm. You're not reading the night, so then you're finishing the night reading during the day. It's mamish two separate inyanim, unless you say that the night is purely for...
What if it's midivrei seifrim? What if it's midivrei neviim also?
So the Rabbanim said that you read it at night and you read it during the day.
Let's say it's not midrabanan at night. Let's say it's also midivrei neviim, but not as ikar. The same thing also. It's meaning what you're saying would apply l'chayra even if it's midivrei neviim at night, because it's not a preparation for the day reading. It's a separate entity.
Right.
Okay, very good. So let's just clarify what the Gra is saying. You know why the Rambam holds that if you make a Shechianu on the night reading, it covers the day? Because we already know from Sukkah and from Lulav that when you make a Shechianu on something which is secondary and not as important, it covers the Iker Mitzvah. The same way you can make the Shechianu on tying the Lulav, even though that's not the Iker Mitzvah, or building the Sukkah, even though that's not the Iker Mitzvah, so too you should be able to make the Shechianu on the night reading, and it should cover the day reading, even though the night reading is not the Iker Mitzvah. So now we have to turn the tables around, because this Gemara in Sukkah is a kasha on Tosfos. Because Tosfos says, well, even though you made a Shechianu at night, you still go back and make a Shechianu during the day, because you've reached the Iker Mitzvah. Yeah, but Tosfos, what about the Gemara in Sukkah on Daf Mem Vav that says that when you make a Shechianu on something secondary, it covers something primary? What's Tosfos going to do with the Gemara in Sukkah, a Gemara Mefareshes? The way the Gra defends the Rambam is a kasha on Tosfos. Because the Gra says it's a kol shekain. The Gra says it's a kal v'chomer. That if when you make the bracha on a hechsher mitzvah, for example, building a sukkah or tying a lulav, that works for the mitzvah itself, then certainly when you make the bracha on the night reading, which is more than a hechsher mitzvah, it is a mitzvah. Maybe it's only d'Rabbanan, or it might even be midivrei neviim, but just not as strong. Certainly that should work. So maybe you'll say, Tosfos would say, you know, I make the Shechianu during the day because it's going on the mitzvah hayom. Tosfos knows the Gemara in Sukkah. Tosfos knows that when you make a Shechianu on something secondary, it covers what's primary. But you make another Shechianu during the day because you still didn't do Mishleach Manos, and you didn't do the Suda. And the Magen Avram writes in Siman Tafrei Tzadi Beis, Sif Katan Aleph, that when you make the Shechianu during the day, you should have in mind Mishleach Manos and Sudas Purim. So maybe that's why you make a Shechianu. But that can't be. Because the Magen Avram says, what if you don't have a Megillah during the day? Do you make a Shechianu on Mishleach Manos and Suda? Let's say a person doesn't read the Megillah during the day. Do they make a Shechianu when they give Shach Manos or before the Suda? Of course not. So you can't say, really, the Shechianu on Mikra Megillah is for the night, and the Shechianu during the day is for the Mitzvah Hayom, because you would never make a Shechianu only on the Mitzvah Hayom if it would not be for Mikra Megillah.
It can't be Yaitse, you can have in mind at night for the Mitzvah Hayom?
No, because there's no Chiyuv of the Mitzvah Hayom now. So we're sort of up the creek without a paddle. What's Tosfos going to do? We defended the Rambam so valiantly and so compellingly. The Rambam says, of course you're not going to make a Shechianu on the day reading. You already made it in the night. Then but the day is the Iker. So what is the Iker? You could even make a Shechianu on a Hechsher mitzvah and it covers the mitzvah itself. So Rabbi is saying a very nice chiluk between the Gemara in Sukkah and the situation that Tosfos is talking about. That when you're tying a lulav or you're building a sukkah, is there a mitzvah to tie a lulav or to build a sukkah? There is no mitzvah. So what are you doing? You are preparing for the eventuality of you sitting in the sukkah or shaking the lulav. So therefore, you could say a Shechianu when you tie it or when you build it, and it will cover the sitting in it. Because tying and building is not a mitzvah, the fact that it's so weak, that's why the Shechianu will work for the eventuality of being Mekayim the mitzvah. However, to make a Shechianu on the night reading of the Megillah, that in no way is a preparation for the day reading of the Megillah. It's a separate mitzvah by itself. Certainly, if the night reading is a d'Rabbanan, so then there are two mitzvahs. There's a mitzvah d'Rabbanan at night, and a mitzvah d'Oraisa, mitzvah midivrei neviim during the day. They're unconnected, they're unrelated, each one stands by itself. So the fact that you made a Shechianu in the night, of course you're going to have to make another Shechianu during the day. But we know that if you make a Shechianu on something secondary, it covers for something primary. That's only if the secondary is a preparation for the primary. Of course, when you make a shechianu on something secondary, it works for something that's primary. But that's only if it's a prep for it. But if it stands by itself, then a shechianu on a secondary will never cover a primary. And even if you say the night reading is midivrei neviim, it's a separate mitzvah. There are two different mitzvahs. There's one mitzvah to read in the night, and one mitzvah to read during the day. So the fact that you made a shechianu in the night is not going to cover you for the day. So l'chayra, Tosfos is a very well-founded and based, meaning, of course Tosfos knows the Gemara in Sukkah Daf Mem Vav that you can make a shechianu on the tying of a lulav or the building of a sukkah, but it ain't going to help you, and that will cover the sitting in the sukkah or the shaking of the lulav, but that is not relevant to Mikra Megillah, because there you're preparing for the ultimate mitzvah. So it's like the mitzvah already starts. See, since you're preparing for the mitzvah, it's like the mitzvah has begun, so I can make a shechianu. If I'm going to make a shechianu at night, the day reading hasn't begun. So now the question is, what's the Rambam going to do? The Rambam says, no, don't make a shechianu during the day, because you already made it at night. What do you mean you made it at night? But there's a new mitzvah. No, we learned from the Gemara in Sukkah you can make a bracha on something secondary and it covers something primary. That has no bearing over here. That's because in the Gemara in Sukkah you're preparing for the ultimate mitzvah, so it's like the mitzvah began. So what's the Rambam going to say? So my good friend Rabbi Aaron Jacoby, who's the main editor of the Hebrew Svarim, he showed me a netziv, of a wondrous netziv in the Heimek Sheila, who says, if you look in the Lashon of the Gemara, Rabbi Shua ben Levi, Chayiv Adam likros Megillah b'layla v'leshnoisa b'yayim. The Gemara doesn't say Chayiv Adam likros Megillah b'layla v'likros oid hapam b'yayim. It says you have to read it during the night and repeat it during the day. Basically, the netziv says in a nutshell that the purpose of reading the Megillah at night is to familiarize yourself with the Megillah, so that when you read it again during the day, you're well versed in it, so you could analyze it and study it and dig deep into it and understand it better. So in other words, in a certain sense, even the night reading, whether it's midrabanan or it's midivrei neviim on a lower level, the objective of it is in a sense to prepare you for the Ikar reading. So the night reading, it is an independent mitzvah, but the function of the independent mitzvah is to service the Ikar mitzvah. Memela, the Rambam says, if that's the case, we could learn from the Gemara in Sukkah that just like the act of tying a lulav or building a sukkah, which is not a mitzvah at all, you can make a shechianu since it's servicing the Ikar mitzvah. Certainly something that is a mitzvah by itself, you should be able to make a shechianu since it's also servicing the Ikar mitzvah. What would Tosfos say? Maybe Tosfos would say, no, that's not the objective of the night reading. Or maybe Tosfos would say, even if it is the objective, but since it's a mitzvah by itself, and you've made a shechianu on that, you could still make another shechianu when you reach a mitzvah which is greater. You see, by tying a lulav and building a sukkah, you're not doing anything now. So that act is totally subordinate to the eventual mitzvah, so the shechianu that you make then works for later. But something that has an independent status, even if it's servicing, you would still make another shechianu. Okay, Rabbi Say, so that's just important inyan regarding Mikra Megillah and the shechianu on it. And wishing everyone a wonderful day. Bracha v'atzlacha.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.